All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is a very special day because today is the very first episode of the T4C podcast, the Train for Change podcast. Our main goal of this podcast is to bring on elite college players who will serve as our trainers, but we'll also bring on elite level coaches, CEOs, and high level professionals inside the game of soccer and your favorite content media influencers as well. My name's Lamar Bynum. I'm a former SMU men's soccer player and just graduated in December of 2024. And yeah, I'll be your main host for all these episodes going forward. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you guys to my co-host, Zach Kennedy.
What's up, people? How are we?
Zach, he's going to be on, not on every podcast, but for the first one, he'll be here, but on occasional, he may have to dip out. He's got other responsibilities. As you can see, big man in the suit and tie, man's $1 million every single day. And then coming at you for our first episode, very special friend of mine, roomed with him on every single away trip my first semester here at SMU. Not every single one this last year, but almost every single one. La Pantera Negra, Martin Dominguez.
Let's go. Happy to be here in the podcast. We've been waiting for this moment for a really long time.
It's been a while. This has been a process.
Yeah. We've had it, man. Yeah. It's been about that time. So yeah, Martin, I'll just kind of lay out the view. I've already talked to you, but just so they know, we're just going to dive deep into you, talk about what made you, college, before college, plans post after college, and just pick your brain, and hopefully our audience can, get some value from it. So kind of first question, bro, if we'll just dive straight in. Walk me through your younger years, like Martin, under 8, like what were you doing? What was life like for young Martin?
I think it's like a tough life. I grew up in the ghetto, the hood, Pleasant Grove.
Where'd you grow up?
Pleasant Grove / Oak Cliff.
Yeah, where is that for people that aren't from Dallas?
South Dallas.
I was gonna say, help other people out, man. Like they got no idea where that is.
Yeah. So South Dallas, grew up there. My parents working 2 jobs every day, and just, I remember my dad, he'd wake up at 5 a.m. every day, go to work, and then come back to the house at 5, 6 p.m. just to take me to training. Some days he wouldn't take me, and I'd beg for him to take me to training. Mm-hmm. And so I started my career off with a team named DeSoto Diablos.
DeSoto Diablos.
Yes, sir. Shout out my uncle.
Hey, that sounds really familiar to a team you play for nowadays.
Yeah, Denton Diablos.
Oh,
yes, sir.
There we go.
But yeah, I started up there at Soto Diablos. Then I think I started at 6 years old. Yeah, I played with my cousin Estefano. After that, I went off with Texans. I was about 12. Yeah, 12. And then
who'd you play for at Texans?
Coach Freddie and Coach Sal.
Okay.
Coach Freddie, Coach Sal. That was when I started my goalkeeper journey.
What was the level? Tell people, was it classic D1, D3? Kind of give perspective on where you started playing for club.
I started off with Select, and then I went off to go classically D1, which was, that was a good upgrade for me. But then 2 years into that, they dropped me, they cut me. And then I went to D3, Classic League D3 with Dallas Kicks.
Damn. That's where all the ballers were. He can't even lie. The ballers were in D3 that just, hadn't been found yet.
Yeah. And then I stayed there for 3-4 years. Went back with Texans when I was 16, 17. And then my last year, that's when I went with Solar. And that's where just, my career took off. Won MLS Next Goalkeeper of the Year. Played with top ballers like JP Jordan. You remember? Yeah.
JP. Shout out JP.
Richie.
Shout out Richie.
Richie Garcia, baby.
Bailey Sparks, he was there.
Shout out
here
PK
before.
Sparks, man.
Yeah. Say what's up to Messi for me. Yeah.
Talk about a guy we got to get on the podcast. You're special, but he played with Messi, bro.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's sick.
It's crazy. But yeah, that was basically my journey. I had a lot of ups and downs, I think it was a very unique journey. I wouldn't say it was like a stable journey. The kid I'm coaching right now, Finn, we talked to him about how maybe you're on the bench right now, but if you work hard, if you put in the work, those players that are ahead of you, that are talented, they're not going to put in the work.
I think you're the perfect example of that. When Lamar and I talk about it, or I, give examples of other players, right? There's always the difference between, talent and hard work, right? Talent in all these younger years has always been, right? They're the top players. They're the ones able to dribble through everyone. They're the naturally gifted athletes. Yeah. Now, as you start working with Finn around 12, 13, 14, that hard work starts to creep up. And I think it's kind of hit its peak for you, right? Like these last 2 years and, you know, what you've been able to accomplish. But like, I think when we stressed that to Finn, it like reminded me, yeah, that's like so important to tell players is like, you can't just focus on talent. Like talent isn't good enough. If you pair it with hard work, you'll be a top player. But for the kids that might not have all the talent in the world, I think that's something that people don't understand is like you can still work hard and get to where you're supposed to go if you don't have that talent, which I think, you know, is a huge driver for my players for sure. But like anyone we train, like I think you probably say that same message to them every time.
Yeah.
So that's solid, bro. And you mentioned on it, that mentality building on, you know, these last 2 years, and we'll dive deeper into your more recent success. But I want to pick upon, you said it, you went up and down through like these teams bouncing through D1, D3, these different leagues. And in terms of quality, I assume we don't have that in New Mexico. So it's like, is that in the level of club, like how you have DA, ECNL, MLS Next? Is that basically like, you know, like levels within club, essentially like D1, D3, like how it is college?
It's like classic League D1. I'm here to tell you that was the
pinnacle, man.
That was the shit back then. And then it was ECNL and then DA.
Like you were DA before you were ECNL though. Like they got rid of DA for boys before they brought in ECNL. Yeah. So like I think when I remember that. So then when it happened, they brought in ECNL. Then they brought in MLS Next, and they just totally scrapped DA for boys. Otherwise, you would have been on the DA team, right? Like that was the MLS.
So that was my goal. Ever since I was younger, I was like, I want to play for DA. I just want 1 year, 1 year, and then they take it off. I'm like, what? Like, what is that, bro? Like, but then they made up MLS Next, which I think that's like a blessing for me. Like that got me on the board, you know.
Yeah.
I still remember that last game against Chicago Fire in the finals. We lost 1-0, but got the MLS Next award, and then next day, woke up to like 20 calls from like different colleges, that's like so for cool. Visits, and I was just like, bro. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
We'll touch upon that. We'll get into it. One thing I want to ask is, how has your mentality changed from that youth player to pre-college? So before you went to Oregon State, which once again we'll talk about later. But how does your mentality change from when you started playing at that rec league to then you start playing more competitive elite level games? So how did your mentality change, if it changed?
It hasn't like really changed, because when I was younger, like I always had that mentality where like work hard, like a work ethic mentality.
Even when you're on the bench not playing?
Yeah. I remember a coach, like we were doing like laps around and we were doing like push-ups. He told me, he's like, all that gym you do, all that extra training for this, like you're not doing well here. I'm just like, all right. So I think just like having those like little messages like motivated me, really like drove my success.
So like those the hater comments.
Exactly. Yeah.
Remember those essentially.
Yeah.
Remember the little jabs that people dig in month after month, year after year.
Yeah. I mean, you still hear them like at the high level sometimes too, and 100%. You just want to prove people wrong, but prove yourself right. I think to answer your question specifically, like I think I've always had that mentality since I was younger. I think people want to be seen like as the underdog, but some people aren't. And some people are. You know who are the underdogs, and like I think I was one of the underdogs coming from like South Dallas, and like just coming from the hood. I think that really drove me, you know, and especially my family. My family like just want to get them out of poverty, out of like, you know, the hood. So
if you could tell 14-year-old Martin one thing, what would you tell him?
Be patient. Be patient.
Why be patient?
I was like in a loop in my head where I thought I was never like gonna get out of it, and I would always just work hard. Like I would overwork myself. When you say a loop, what do you mean? Basically, like I had to go to the gym in the morning, train with my team again, and go to the gym in the night again. Like at
so your daily routine.
Cycle.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
I see
So that's your daily routine.
Yeah.
And it wasn't producing. Is that what you're saying? And then you had to change it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like that, man.
But that like I see what you're saying is like the monotonous of just like every day waking up and just redoing it and redoing it and redoing it.
Yeah.
It gets like, when you're not seeing the results, I think that's when it gets tiring. You're like, is this really working? Like if you look at the younger players you work with, like if they don't see that they're getting better in those first couple weeks,
they give up,
right?
Exactly.
And that's what's hard and I'm glad you fought through that, because I think when nowadays people don't. They don't see the change in the first couple weeks, and they're done. They're like, hands up, like I can't do this. And I think that's what's killer, is because you have to do the cycle, right? Everyone has to go through some sort of everyday motion. They have to do stuff. They have to get it done. it's a lost art, I think, these days.
Yeah,
Like,
Seems like you always had the mentality of hard work. Always. Seems like you always had that mentality. So what would you say to someone then, like you said, first 2-3 weeks, you're training hard every day. You play, train, don't play. Train, don't play. Train, play, 5-10 minutes, play like trash, don't play again. Like, so you know what I mean? It's easier to say now in a privileged position, but like, you know, you had a great mentality. I could tell you myself at age 14, bro, when I was sitting on the bench, I hated life. I did not want to go to training. Bro, hard work, I want to quit. Forget that, bro. Bro, no, for real. I'm like, me at 14, I was like, bro, if I wasn't playing and I wasn't playing well, I was like, bro, forget this. I don't want to, like, why am I out here? So, like, for me, that was something I struggled with. For you, it sounds like it came natural. So what would you say to someone like me who doesn't come as easy to you as a younger age?
I think the main part is to have fun. Like, even, like, if you're not playing. Because at the end of the day, like, soccer is just a game that people pay to watch, you know? And, like, even, like, if you're not playing, have fun when you're training. Have fun when you're playing those small-sided games. Have fun when you're kicking the ball with your dad in the backyard with anybody.
So let me ask you a little side question on this is, when you got into college, do you lose that sort of, like, youthful, amateur, like, fun style because now it's, like, you have to be able to compete. You have to do this. You have to do this. And it's very structured. Do you lose that like idea of just go have fun, go enjoy the game? Like, this is what you've played your whole life for. Now you're at the pinnacle, but you kind of feel like, is this it? Like, is this what I've worked so hard to do? Because I've had players and we've had guys on, you know, come to us and to Lamar and I and say, like, we've lost our love for the game. Going through and playing college, it's just not fun anymore. Like, we wake up and training is just technical work, then possession, then finishing, and then we play small-sided. And it's every single day the same thing, and they've lost that joy. So I ask you, like, is that kind of how it went?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I can tell you when I went to Oregon State, like, I lost it. Like, It was just like a cycle, just going through the motions, going through, like, training. I remember the specific day where I just wanted to quit. Like, I just called my dad before training. I was like, Dad, I don't know why I can't, like, play or, like, perform. Like, it's just tired. Like, I'm just, like, I wanted to give up. He's like, and he told me exactly, like, my dad told me, like, just have fun, literally. I think that's what, like, people need, like, players need a support system that will support you, like, emotionally and just, like, not too much. Because I feel like when parents support you, like, too much, they can, like, burn you out. And I've seen that happen, like, in front of me, in my own eyes. So I think just having that support system behind you that push you to an extent.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a tough thing now. Players like you, like Lamar, like some of our trainers that we have is they're just tired. They're tired of the monotonous every single day, doing the same drills, the same thing, to now, you know, like the definition of insanity is doing the same things every single day and expecting a different outcome. Well, is that kind of what Oregon State was like to you?
Yeah, it's crazy that you say that. I was, so it rained, when was it, like a week ago? Yeah. And it reminded me so much about Oregon because that's how it was. It was just rainy and cold. So honestly, Oregon State, I'd say like it was like a blur because it was just constant work every single day. Yeah. But I fell in love with the work. I fell in love with the process, even though I knew I wasn't going to play the next game or I didn't even have a chance to play maybe the next year.
Say that again, because I think that's something that players miss, is like the waking up and just going to work, just doing it. So eventually, say it again. You said it well.
I didn't know like I was gonna play the next game or the next year. Like I just loved like training. I just fell in love with the process.
You're a goalie, right?
Yeah.
So you went to Oregon State at what age?
18.
And what number on the depth chart were you goalie?
4.
So you knew you weren't gonna play in no games.
Yeah. Train
all week. Know for a fact you're not playing.
Yeah.
Week, train. Best training ever. Know you're not gonna play. Train. Bro, yeah, you got to be a different breed to do that, bro.
And I can tell you this, Neve, our teammate, he I talked to him. We were taking a shower together, but he told me, okay, let's calm down. we're having a deep conversation in the shower, but. I know it sounds a bit weird. So he was going through a rough time, you know. He wasn't playing, and he told me a question. He's like, how do you do it? He's like, how'd you do it? Like you didn't play for all those 3 years. He's like, you have a different mentality. Like honestly, I haven't seen that with anybody else, and that really like even motivated me more. And that was during the season, and And I was just like, wow. Like, I didn't even realize I have, like, you know Dibu Martinez? Dibu, the Argentinian keeper.
The small-time keeper who saved Mbappe's shot.
Oh, yeah.
Not Mbappe. It was not Upamecano. I'm blanking the name, but France, small Argentine, won Messi the World Cup. I'm being sarcastic. I'm being.
So he was in Arsenal, and he didn't play for like 8 years. So sometimes I take that into perspective. I'm just like, dude, he didn't play for 8 years, and he's still going. I didn't play for 2 or 3 years. I'm like, I gotta keep going. Like,
I was gonna say, like, the funny thing though is, like, you had the conversation with Neve. Neve's story is like almost opposite to you. Like, he was brought in and immediately played, won freshman of the year, like, was so set up for success. He had never touched a bench, ever.
Yeah.
And so when his sophomore year came around and the team got, mixed up and the formation changed and all that, lost players, gained players, he kind of got swept up in that. And, one of the things that I think you have that he didn't necessarily have, and I think he has now, is that ability to say, hey, I'm just going to put my head down and work. Like, there's a common goal that I want so badly that I'm literally just going to put my head down and I'm going to work. And I think now talking to Neve, and Neve is one of my best friends. Yeah. Now talking with him, he's so set on that. He transferred to Santa Clara, obviously. But he's so hard set on that. He wants to play. He wants to go pro. This is the right situation, that I think he's kind of learned that from you. And it's weird that you say, like, oh, yeah, 2 buddies can sit next to each other and learn from each other, like just having a conversation in the shower. Yeah. But I think it's so true. Like, every day, I think, we all learn from each other, but you don't know, like, what hits home, right? For Neve, it was, just put your head down and work. For you, it was someone noticing how hard you work every day, and might not see the field. That's a testament to, I think, you as a person, almost more than a player. Right, like, you able to work out of the hood, able to now get yourself out of a situation at Oregon State where you're keeper number 4, transfer to SMU, be able to work your way up the depth chart. Now goalkeeper 1, just got re-signed to SMU. Like, bro, I mean, that's something that a few people can say they have done.
Yeah.
What's something practically, and I don't mean to cut you off, but while it's on, like, what's something practically someone can do to get a mentality like yours where it's like, okay, I'm not seeing the results. Still got to work hard. I'm not playing. Who cares? I still got to show up in training. Like, what can a kid do, like, practically, like something they can actually do in their day-to-day to improve, and something they could try to measure, tangibly?
Just like a why. Like, why you do something and repeating that why every single day. And I have a special thing for me in training to, like, switch me on. And that's Be Martin, a new opportunity, which is basically like be myself, play yourself. And the new opportunity is like, every play, every single, like, second, every day is a new opportunity to get better. And if you messed up the day before, you have the next day. You have the next day. Just like how Kobe says, if you mess up on Monday, you have Tuesday. Then you have Wednesday. Then you have Thursday. It's a cycle. You repeat it, So
it sounds like they could just move on.
Yeah.
Is there a point, though, as a player, and this is a question to both y'all, that you get to the top of the depth chart, but then you have that you mess up moment? Yes, there's Tuesday, but right now, you're not the starting right back or you're not the starting goalie. What is the kind of the mentality to now get back to that role, right? Like, does that kind of change and shift? Because I think a lot of these players are kind of stuck in that.
I haven't experienced that. Like, I haven't, like, been the starter and then getting my spot taken. Like, so that's where that part comes from me.
I can answer it. It sucks. Hey, it blows. Let me tell you that. It blows, bro. Starting and then getting benched blows. And we joke about it, and it's funny. Yeah, because you guys all know my story, but I played and never came off the bench. My freshman year of high school was the first time I came off the bench in, like, a competitive, like, game, because club, starter all the time, and then sophomore, junior year of high school, starter, everything, club, high school. So freshman, sophomore, junior year of college, even first year SMU, all 18 games, 19 games, whatever it was. Yeah. Then last year, played or came in concussion, didn't start right away, and then started and then got benched again. And then to answer your question, Zach, like, what I remember doing, and it kind of ties into what Martine said, is like, you still just have to move on. Like, you still have to just get up the next day. Like, your performance in the past, like, you could go, okay, I started and now I'm not starting, or I'm playing well, now I'm not playing well. The only thing you can do in that moment is assess the situation, which you've already done. I'm playing well, I'm not playing well. Now you can control what you can do, which is your actions. So whether you played well, the next day of training, you should work hard to keep playing well.
Yeah.
If you played bad and now you're benched, you should work hard to change their mind. If you scored a hat trick, you should work hard to score another hat trick. If you missed 3 chances, you should work hard to convert them next time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, moving on is always the right answer, I feel like. Like, in that situation, that's what helped me. And you may not even remember, but I remember talking with you when I first got benched. And it was like, bro, like, in retrospect, in lightest terms, it's like, this shit sucks. Like, bro, I was like, bro, this stuff sucks. But same thing with Neve asked you. I asked you, like, bro, how do you do? Like, what do you do? The same thing you told me is like, just have fun. Remember why you did it. And for me, it was my family, and it was for the joy of like actually being around my friends and the environment. So I took a step back. Do I like my friends and my teammates? Love them. Do I like my environment? Love Dallas, love SMU. My family still encouraging me to play. Do they still like what I'm doing? Yes, my family supports me 100%. Boom, boom, boom. Was good from that point on. And then that's when I got back into the team. And then when I got my opportunity again,
you never let it go.
Never let it go, and then took it even farther. And then that's where players, I think, mess up, because you're a coach as well. When you bench a kid, you're not kicking them off the team. No. Or if you cut their minutes, you're not cutting them forever. But where a kid throws himself into trouble is when they see that and they take it as, oh, coach is attacking me personally. Yeah. Coach hates me. Certain situations, everyone has their own, but if most of the time, coach doesn't hate you. They're just trying to win. And you may not be playing the best on that day. You may not be performing that well. So it's nothing personal. That's the thing I took away.
So that's where I want to get into. Like, did you ever feel like pressure? Like, you got a full ride. Then
I was going to say, I was literally going to ask the same thing.
So that's what I'm feeling right now. I'm like, not going to lie.
I can tell you 100%, bro. Yeah, you feel the pressure. Yeah. But it's privileged pressure. Okay. Because your pressure is you're on a full ride at a D1 university playing soccer. That's 90% of little kids' dreams. You 10 years ago would be praying for this kind of pressure.
Do you think when you got benched, you let someone down though? Like, I know when I talk to my boys, like, and they get benched, like, it's especially my 19s, right? ECNL, they're the highest level. When they get benched, Lamar's right. They take it as like a personal shot, like, oh, you're just not good enough. When really it's, you weren't good enough today, right? It's a one-day thing. I have to put out the best 18 that is going to go get me a result. And if you weren't on that for that week or that specific day, that's okay. But some of them will come to me and say, well, I feel like I let you down, right? And that's what I'm asking is like, when that happened to you and when you never got your opportunity, did you guys feel like you were letting someone down in that moment?
If I felt like I was letting anyone down, it was myself. Like, I always just expect the best for myself. But that's the competitive nature that you got to balance as a competitor. If you want to make it to the next level, you should be pissed when the coach bench you. Like, you should be upset. You should feel, mad or to a extent. You should feel some type of way. Shows that you care, in my opinion. Because the top players, I think we can all agree, have a bit of ego to them. A little bit of like, my stuff don't stink. You're not as good as me. I'm better than you. Pass me the ball. You need that. To make you 100% need that. So I feel like getting benched, to answer your question, I don't feel like I let anyone down. If anything, I feel like it's just more motivation for me.
When that happened, you had a positive mindset. Like, you're still part of the brotherhood. You didn't let that affect the way you interacted with like the other players. You were still for the team. You're in it for the team. I remember the thing you said, if we get the whole team to go far, like, everybody's seen. Yeah. Not only one person, everybody's seen. So, 100%. Yeah.
Hey, you were talking about it earlier, and this is for the people listening. If you do not know Lamar, one of his favorite things is to enjoy training. That is his enjoy training, enjoy games. And when we were working at when I was working at SMU, right? How I met these guys and became very good friends. When I was working on the team, I would always show up to a game, hour early to set everything up. Every single game, home game, without fail, away game as well, Lamar comes strolling in, headphones on, big ass smile on his face, so excited to be there. I think that almost made me like happy and excited and warm. And he would just literally come and, excuse my language, but shoot the shit. Yeah. Like, we would just talk about whatever was going on that day. I'm pumping up soccer balls, and there's Lamar. Hey man, like, what's going on? What you doing today? Like, oh yeah, I got stuck on the exam. Just talk about something that wasn't soccer, that you could kind of hone in on, just like why you love being here. Like, and that was the thing I took away is, dude, this guy literally has the biggest smile ever coming into this game. He might not know the opponent. He might not. It doesn't care. You just were showing up to compete. And that was just like eye-opening to me. It was just like, dude, this guy just loves the game. And he just loves being here. He loves that, and it's fun to him. So when you said, oh, like, you know, you need to find the fun in the game, there's no one that knew it better than this guy. This guy enjoyed every single minute of training, every single minute of being with this group. And I think that's what also like kind of taught me, and I'll give this to Lamar, is like, I need to make sure I incorporate fun into being a coach. Like, I can't just be the mean old man that, you know, where if it's not perfect, we got to run. If it's not this, we got to do this, right? You know, I stress creativity. I think that's, you know, a big piece, and I think it all stems from seeing you guys and how much you smile and you enjoy the game and you love being around it. Makes me want to teach my boys that same passion, that same enjoyment. So, you know, testament to you. What was that like, just showing up every day, both of y'all, to come in and just like love the game so much that you could never kind of get thrown out of rhythm? Like, you were just so happy to be there.
I think for me, it was just looking at the beautiful field we had and like remembering the old times where I would just like, I would play in dirt, like literally dirt, sometimes in cement. I would dive in cement. And like, I know it sounds crazy, but I think just like having all those things that I dreamed of as a kid, and just like thinking about, you know, all the other kids that would wish to have this opportunity, you know, and just being grateful and having that gratitude. And yeah, that's for me.
I mean, yeah, you put it perfectly, bro. I think the word you're looking for is humble. Like, you're just humble to be in a position like this. Like, bro, I never would have thought I got to play D1 soccer.
Remember we had that conversation, like
real talk
in the like the rooms, you know, in away trips. Yeah, we had those conversations.
You sharing stuff with different dudes on the team, bro.
That's what I mean, bro. In a private, intimate setting, freaky. Nah, I'm in all white. No Michael Rubin parties.
Oh, no.
Michael Rubin around here. But no, serious bit. It was like, got to be humble. You got to be appreciative. And you got to, like, the saying I try to tell myself is like, you're living in times you used to pray for. Like 10, 15 years ago, oh, I want to play soccer at a high level. I want to play college. I want to play D1. I want to play this. I want to do this move here. I got to do that. I got to live that. Forever grateful. And I feel like if you're always in a state of gratefulness, humbleness, you can appreciate everything. Like, you can appreciate the food you eat, even walking to class, failing an exam, like, you know, next day always happens. And we've been kind of touching upon it and on the mental side of it, but kind of leading into you, Martine, I want to ask you, do you ever struggle with self-doubt?
All the time. Yeah.
How do you overcome that? And then if you feel like you can't overcome it, what do you do?
The way I overcome it is, I think, by praying, like just praying over, like, about the difficult things or the obstacles that are happening in my life, and just putting it all on God's hands and letting Him like make the pathway for me, and trusting in His process. I wake up every morning and I pray to God. The first thing I pray about is just to be alive. I think we take that for granted, like just being able to wake up and take that first breath, or to walk, or to eat food, or to pee, anything, but just anything. Like there's people, like, we don't even think about it. There's people in Africa, not even Africa, in like anywhere in South America and Mexico, like, that don't have food or don't even have a like roof over their head. And we have this right here. We have support that can help us. And sometimes I think we take that for granted, and that's what I like to do. I like to get on my knees, get on my bed, and put my hands together and pray. And thank you, God, for waking me up, for letting me breathe, and reminding me that, like, He's the truth, like He's everything. And then also, like, asking Him to take care of my family members, my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my abuelita, and also y'all guys. I'd say please take care of, I'd say specifically names. I'd say take care of Huddy, I'd say Ross, Kingy. I'd say you guys, Lamar, when you were there, Zach. I'd say specific names, and that'd be a long prayer, but I'd say all that. And I think the guy above, he hears that, and I don't know. I'm sure he hears it, because my story, like, pretty wild. I think, like, sometimes I think about it. I'm just like, I don't even know how I got here, and when people ask me, I'm just like,
Bro, there's a 17-year-old goalkeeper right now emailing Huddy saying, I want to be the starting goalkeeper at SMU. Bro, and that's you. Like, bro, that's what I mean. There's thousands of people.
Yeah. I want to take the self-doubt in a different direction, because some of my boys right now are experiencing it, and some of them aren't. obviously devout, religious people. I almost want to tell our listeners and then the people that watch and whatnot, self-doubt is, I think it's necessary. Because if you don't doubt yourself, that only means you think you're above it all. And I think when you talk about humbleness, right, I think self-doubt kind of comes into humble to say, am I really this good? Do I really belong here? But then your answer should always be yes. Your answer should be, yes, I belong here. Yes, I'm good enough to do this. So it's okay to doubt yourself personally. Like I doubt myself saying, there's no way I should be 21 years old coaching a U19 ECNL team. Like that, there's no way. But at the end of the day, I've worked hard to get to that position in the little time I have worked. I've worked hard to get that, so I deserve to be there. For my players, it's the same thing. When you doubt yourself, I think it's okay. Like I think you're human. You're human. That's not going to just go away. You're not just become, that cocky person that always walks around with no care in the world. I don't think that's healthy. I think it is okay to doubt yourself. It's okay to say, am I really going to do okay on this test? Am I really going to do this? Like, am I that?
I think it shows that you care.
100%.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that people miss. If they're they either doubt themselves way too much and they can't say yes, 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 or they don't check themselves enough. And those people can just coast through life. They don't know that gratitude. They don't know that ability to kind of check themselves and be in the moment and be realistic with themselves. I think when you say like self-doubt, like it's okay. Self-doubt yourself because I think that also makes you better. That allows you to answer the question and say, yes, I am good enough to be here. Yes, I'm good enough to play. Yes, yes, yes. And I think that creates a healthy mindset along with, a healthy, career.
I think believing in yourself is something underrated thing. Yeah, because even when I was at Oregon State, I didn't believe in myself until my second year.
Neglected.
Yeah.
There's a word. It's a neglected thing.
Yeah, neglected.
What's an encyclopedia? Right here.
But yeah, I didn't believe in myself, and I think a lot of kids, like, if y'all listening to this podcast, believe in yourself. I think that's the main point I want to put out there. Believe in yourself, because the more you believe in yourself, you don't need nobody else to believe in you, because you have yourself. That's all you need. That's all you need, yourself. Preach. Yeah.
And I'll put a double down. If you're not believing in yourself, who is? Like, we all have our moms, our dads, like grandmas, uncles, that's our family. Like, our family, is always going to love us, support us through right and wrong. But like, you say you pray for us, like, you don't, I'm sure, like, you mean well, and I'm not calling you a liar, but I'm sure you don't say, I pray for Lamar's success and well-being every single day. Same with Zach, every single day. I don't pray for Martine's success and well-being every single day. Same with Zach. So it's like, no one is out here wishing for your well-being more than you should be. Because, no one's waking up every day saying, okay, I'm forget my life. I'm here to make Martine perfect. Like, no one's doing that. No one's out here living that kind of life. So it's good that you got that mentality, bro. This one's kind of like a fun one. Want you to build your dream 5-a-side team.
Oh my
God.
Or
6-a-side, I should say, because 1 keeper, 5 field players.
Okay. For my goalkeeper, I go Keylor Navas, my idol.
Nah.
What
a pick.
Especially if it's like...
A la Madrid.
Yeah, exactly. A la Madrid. It's like, if it's going to be indoor, reactions. Keylor Navas. He's
like a hockey goalie.
Exactly, yeah. He's my idol. I have him right here. Right here. He's right here as my profile. My homepage. But Keylor Navas, middle center back, I think I'll go with Sergio Ramos.
Oh,
valid.
Sergio Ramos.
Very valid.
Over Van Dijk?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And then left, I'd go with, let's see, Marcelo.
Absolute class.
Marcelo.
Great
absolute class. Absolute class.
And then right, Rafa Marquez.
Hey, yes, I know Rafa Marquez, bro.
You don't know him?
I've heard the name, bro.
He's Polish.
No, he's not, bro. Come on, man.
You don't know him? Come on, man.
Yeah, you're Swedish, Lamar. Yeah.
Rafa Marquez.
Rafa Marquez.
I've heard
the
the
Barcelona
name.
legend too. He played with Barcelona, Mexican.
Okay, bro. It's just not coming to mind right now.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
Relax.
Rafa Marquez, and the 2 up top, I'd probably put Ronaldo and Messi.
All right, who's coaching the squad though? Who's
Zach
coaching the squad?
Kennedy.
No. Who's coaching the squad? Yeah.
The special one.
Jose Mourinho.
Yours is Keylor Navas. Mine is Jose
Mourinho?
Yes, bro. I think when I look at, like, on a serious note, when you look at a guy who, like, there's very few coaches who, like, didn't play. right? Like that didn't play at a high level, that just kind of went in academy and just got right into coaching. That's who I relate the most with, right? Tactician at heart, like was able to then go and have success. So when I look at a guy, you know, there's not many of them who didn't play at a high level who are now coaching at the high of a level. Yeah. You know, so when you look at Keylor Navas, I look at Mourinho and say, okay, this is a possibility for me to now go and coach at this high level, even though I didn't play in college. You know, I played up to I was 18, but that was, you know, at an academy level. So it's like a very similar kind of situation. But the second I got out of playing, I went right into coaching and started learning and, you know, from different people. So it's a similar style. So, you know, it's a good pick. It's a good pick.
Yeah, Jose.
Yeah, it's a good pick. It's a good pick.
W team, man. Yeah, that's huge, bro. This may be a hard one, but if you had to describe your journey, your soccer career to this point in one word, what would it be?
I'd say I learned this word. I remember it was my freshman year in high school, and I had no idea what this word meant. And I learned it, and I remember the teacher who taught me, Miss Torres. Shout out to her. Grit. I think that's something every player has to have to like be successful. If you want to go pro, you gotta have grit.
Who's your hero?
I think myself, not in a selfish way. Something
Ego. Boom.
I was not expecting that, bro. I thought you were gonna say your dad or something. I was like, okay. All right, sound good.
No, I'd say myself because I mean I saw this video. The guy that was an Interstellar,
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, he said that like in 10 years, he said it himself as well. He said it because in 10 years he's gonna work towards that person. So like, I don't know, something like that. Okay. But I also,
you're kind of setting up the path of you to be.
Yeah.
So your hero is like you in 10 years?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's what it's saying.
Hold on, Lamar. I want to ask you a question, and this is something that I think a lot of my players want to hear. And I just had this talk with them a couple weeks ago. Is about how you treat your body, nutrition, recovery, the heavy hitters. Because my 19s are kind of they're too far gone to like. they either have it or they don't. Right? They need to start those habits. But I'm talking to my 11-year-olds that are about to go into ECNL next year. About habits. So what are your habits in that regard of kind of just like nutrition, recovery, health, wellness? Like where do you kind of stand with that?
I learned all about that at Oregon when I was with my so my roommates were all Spaniards, and they told me about their lifestyle. Like they eat all whole foods. They eat nothing but you know, like protein. They have this special dish named paella. I don't know what that is. Yeah. They would cook. That's the first dish they cooked for me when I was there. Just the way I saw the way that like they would hold themselves and like, you know, they'd get 8 hours of sleep. They eat dinner pretty late, at 10, but they eat like a good amount. You know, they eat 2 meals a day, but they also have like a snack day in the middle of the day, and they love their naps. They call them siestas. Yeah, I think they taught me a lot. Shout out Javi Armas. Have you seen this? Thank you for everything that you taught me. He taught me everything. He's currently the captain for Atlanta United too. But he was like a special roommate
get him on the pod.
Yeah, he was a special roommate that taught me so much.
What did you drink? Lots of water.
Yeah, I was gonna say like going to specific is like what should you fuel your body with? What is it pre-game, post-game? I know we don't have a ton of time, but like, you know, one of the things that we, I think, advertise about you is your body and how well you treat it, and now to teach that to other people, the nutritional side, the nutritional side, like the stuff like that is like, I think I want my players to kind of mimic that, but they got to hear it from you. Like, what is it you do to have success?
I mean, he would just drink nothing but water, to be honest. Like I said, he eat nothing but like whole foods, and he taught me how to look at the ingredients and make sure they're all like nothing but like real like food. Yeah. Because I could say here in America is very like processed, and he helped me like how to identify that, going to like the market and just buying the simple stuff like rice, eggs.
Yeah.
And then he'd buy this special bread named Ezekiel. And then for drinking, I mean, he'd just drink nothing but water and caffeine, coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But just like the simple stuff, like the boring stuff, which people like that people think, you know, it's boring, but it'll get you far in life, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think that's one of the big pieces is like, if you can get your nutrition right, if you can get your sleep habits right, if you can get your, you know, your recovery habits, and then your training. Yeah. Right? I think it kind of all falls in line with each other, right? You sleep 8 to 10 hours. you recover, doing compression, doing cold plunge, doing, that stuff. You eat the right foods, it's not heavily processed, fried, fast food, all of that stuff. Yeah. And then, right, I think that only adds to your success, right? Like, is if you can set yourself up in the best way possible, body-wise, I think your mind will then follow. Like, I think works for me now. I compete in CrossFit nowadays, so I'm very much stuck on this idea of like, okay, I got to really focus on what I put in my body. I train twice a day. And then be able to recover to be able to then go again the next day and the next day and the next day. And you guys lived it of like having to train at such a high level to then now I got to go to class. And then on top of that, I got to be able to go again the next day. And I think that's a super hard thing for people to understand.
I think your mind has to be stronger than your emotions.
Okay.
That's something I hear a lot.
100%.
Like your emotions will tell you, stay in bed, eat this, eat that. But your mind has to be stronger than that, because if your emotions beat you to that, well, I mean, you're gonna fall into the same habits over and over. And it's really hard to be consistent with habits. But once you start getting into the groove, I mean, you find a routine that you like.
Like you said, the loop. And how you get your loop is your why. Your why's got to be stronger than the temptation in front of you to eat unhealthy, to drink all the time, to go out when you have a match the next day. Like, if your why is not stronger than those reasons, I think that's where players falter. But I think your why has always been stronger than those reasons. That's why you've never faltered in that sense. It's huge, man.
And distractions there's a lot of distractions that can happen before a game. Huddy would say all the time, there's a game. Don't be in the boulevard.
Please don't go out on the boulevard.
Don't be in the boulevard.
Please don't go out before.
And then you see a couple guys in the boulevard, and we have a next game. We have a game the next day. But I don't get distracted with the distractions, and just stay true to yourself. And you only know like what you did before the game to prepare yourself. And if you did everything, to be ready for that game, then when you get into the game, like you'll be confident. You'll have pressure, but you'll feel confident.
Is it a dual-sided sword when you say, really only focus on your game, focus on this? But, to the listeners, the three of us, we had some unbelievable nights that we went and just enjoyed each other and went and had fun and enjoyed that time, because I think even though you guys were high-level performing Division I athletes, at the same time, you also have to enjoy, right? Being in that moment and go enjoy life. We go in, salsa and Pedicel and places like that, bro. And that's the stuff I remember so much and building, our bond and whatnot. Those nights were just so much fun. And then being able to come in and, the day off, then y'all recover and then you come back and train. Is there like a double-sided sword of saying like, yes, you really need to focus, but you also got to enjoy where you are in life.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's like a balance with everything.
Yeah.
You have to balance your social life. For us, like balance your schoolwork and balance your footy. So it's hard to balance all those things, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Like there's been thousands of other athletes who've done that and have been successful in a high level. So I remember my roommate in Spain, like in Oregon State, the Spaniard, he'd tell me, us Spaniards, we love to have fun. We love to have fun. So they wouldn't go out before the game, but like maybe a day before.
Yeah.
To have fun, be with your lads, with the boys. That's how you build.
Game, you go out day after.
You build chemistry like that.
Yeah,
100%.
I think just having balance is like
Yeah, you need the balance. I think it's definitely important. Would you say though? Imagine if you went all soccer heavy the whole time. I think at that point, it depends on your mentality. Because, once again, we don't know his whole life, but, like, Ronaldo, for example, he's the pinnacle of, like, eat healthy, perfect. I mean, he probably went out. He's human. Yeah. He probably went out. But it's like, if you do the extra steps and you do what most people aren't willing to do, like, let's say you go out 10 times, the night before a game. We all know people who can go out and still play well. Like,
yes,
one guy comes to mind immediately. Like,
we do.
We all know one guy immediately.
We do.
But it's like, and we've seen him play well. Yeah. But it's like, what if he didn't go out and he was better?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's always like a question. When we think of this one guy, I think we're all thinking about. I know many,
not just him.
No, for sure,
it's not
many of them.
Bad lighting because he's a great person.
Absolutely phenomenal person.
Yeah.
But I'm, and I hope to get him on the pod, to be honest. That would be unbelievable. But when I looked at him, I saw that there was opportunities for him to focus on footy. But a guy like that, and talking to him and knowing him, he was very much focused on all aspects. He was like, look, I'm here for a short amount of time. I want to enjoy as much as I can. I love soccer. I love enjoying people. I love meeting new people and making new connections. So he's not going to limit himself to only playing footy, right? And he's not going to limit himself to not caring about the football part and only going out. And so, when Martin says there's a balance, he lived that balance. And I think that's a guy who was able to make it all work. And I think, when we look to podcasts in the future, we have a guest that's going to come on who's my mentor, my boss, who didn't. And he was very focused, did not drink until he was 21, didn't, and drinks very, little beyond that, but was still able to enjoy, Wake Forest, and was able to go have a good time, but also played at such a high level that he had success. Mm-hmm. And I think that balance is something that you have to learn in everything, in all, if it's, work to family life, kids to fun. Like, I think as the three of us, we're young, but as we grow up, that balance, I think, just changes names. It doesn't necessarily leave you, but it goes from school, work, soccer, social life to work, kids, religion, something like that. But I think that's something that we get to look forward to in the future.
100%, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, Martin, we appreciate you, taking the time, busy,
for real,
jam-packed. If you guys want to get trained by Martin and other trainers like Martin in the Dallas area, download the app below, Train for Change. We're going live. Right now we're only in Dallas, but coming to a city near you in the near future. But as for Martin, do you have anything else you want to say to the viewers? Anyone you want to shout out? Anything?
Shout out my mom, my dad, my family.
Always a choice, man. Right decision.
If I can say one last thing, thank you, Lamar, you, Zach, for bringing me in this podcast. And all this, like, being together, is a blessing. The last thing I want to say is have a why. When you wake up every day, have a why. A why will take you to places you would have never imagined. Like, it took me to this place right here. I'm so grateful for that. And I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to keep going, just like you should keep going. Like, don't give up. If you think you should give up, just think about your why. That will motivate you for that little edge to keep going. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Lovely,
no worries.
Man. Lovely.
I can tell you why you should download Train for Change. Hit that app. Hit that link below. Download it today. We'll work on those. But yeah, Martin, thank you, bro. Appreciate your time.
Yes,
Thank you.